Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste experience. Feels good, doesn't it, to join, to come together, to unite in a single extension and expansion of grace. What is left to do but that? I don't think anything. At least there's nothing that is ever going to satisfy us or quite get to the source of that itch. You know, that itch we all feel like there's something I'm forgetting. I can't quite reach it. Nope. You forget no more. It's right there. It's right here, right now. All we need to do is to say, thank you. Thank you. Let's say that together. Thank you. Thank you for this moment. Thank you. Thank you for this holy instant of release. Thank you. I like to say that the only prayers you really need are a couple of two-word prayers. One is thank you. The other is help me. Help me. I can't do this on my own. I've tried for a really long time and it didn't work. I need help. And this is where it comes. So let's join together in our opening affirmation, I guess we could call it. It's just another way of saying help me. So here we go. My soul has but one goal, to awaken to the truth that is forever true. My heart has but one desire, to remember the passion of infinite bliss. My mind has but one, to embrace the reality that is forever real. I choose to awaken now to the infinite love that is my source. I give everything to this source, love, just as it has given everything to me. I am awake now. How is everyone today? Awake and ready. How feels everyone today? Awake and ready. I love this line, to remember the passion of infinite bliss. The passion of infinite bliss. Bliss and awakening are passionate. We've been talking about that lately. Passion and devotion. Those are the key elements that springboard this awakening. If you're lukewarm, it's going to happen because the end is guaranteed, but it's going to take a lot longer. And why hesitate at this point? Why not be passionate about this release into grace and light and holiness and peace? Why not desire only that and give all of your love and devotion to only that? Why not? I think that's the reason we're here. That's the reason we join. Because we feel that there is a reality that we're joining with rather than an illusion. And what we're going to hear here in a moment is the fact that you cannot join with illusions. You cannot join with shadows. I was just watching or looking at a picture. I was showing Gina and a couple of people at the breakfast table a couple of pictures of me when I was 6 or 7, or maybe 5. And one of them, I'm sleeping in a chair with boxing gloves on, exhausted. And if I remember, that was probably around the time that our father was teaching us how to shadow box. That's one of the ways you learn how to box. You shine a bright light so your shadow and you're kind of pretending like you're boxing with the shadow. And that can get very old very quick. Now, the good thing is that your shadow never really hits back. The bad thing is that your shadow does everything you do. So it never is, it's not a real lesson. But the point is that shadows aren't real. Reality isn't real. But when we join together, we're not joining in illusions, we're joining in the truth. Can you feel that truth? When we join here every morning, do you feel something inside that's saying, yes, thank you, thank you? If you do feel that, that means you're waking up. That means you're waking up. And when you're fully awake, the passion of that infinite bliss is just overwhelming. And all you can do is shout it from the mountaintop, not so much with words, but with your presence. By the way that you live, by the way that you vibrate, your frequency. We always come back to that beautiful quote from St. Francis. Our only job is to teach the gospel wherever we go, but only when necessary to use words. It's about presence. It's about frequency. That's what I love about Namaste and everyone who joins us online as well. We're sharing a frequency, a vibration, and that's passionate. The passion of infinite bliss. And don't hold it back. Sometimes we have a tendency to feel this, but like, oh, but don't get too big. No, it's not the you that you thought you were that's getting big. It's the you that you are in truth that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Let that expand out into the universe, into the infinity of who you really are. The passion of infinite bliss. Don't hold it back. So this morning, as I was getting ready, guess what happened?
Sam Cook.
Sam Cook? Sampa?
Sam Cook.
Oh, Sam Cook. So listen to this offering. You cannot join with anything except reality itself. You cannot join with anything except reality. In other words, you can't join with illusions. You can't join with the unreal. The ego mind, the perceptual mind wants you to believe that you can, but you've come to the point where you realize that such a thing is impossible. And to continue to pursue the impossible when you know it's impossible is insane. So give it up. You cannot join with anything except reality itself. Everything else is changing at such a high rate and speed that it is never the same from moment to moment. If you step into a river, walk away for even a few moments, you come back to a different river. And it's the same with the life that you're convinced that you live. The same with the life you're convinced you live. Your split mind relies upon constant change to prove that it's independent from every other changing form. Let me read that again. That is a big sentence. Your split mind or your ego relies upon constant change. Everything's changing constantly. To prove that it's independent, that you're independent from every other changing form. Got it? Because everything's changing, but we're all changing at different rates, different speeds. It makes me independent. This is how the ego partitions itself off. Every instant brings you closer to your eventual death. And this it calls release and salvation. This is the only thing that the ego can rely upon, your eventual death. Why? The reason we thought we knew why at one point, but the reason seems to be fading. Why would we do that when we know that there's so much more? When we can feel the passion of this infinite bliss building within us? Why would we rely upon and even want this changing form that leads to eventual death? We see through it now, the insanity that it really is. But your whole mind, that which is known by God, is changeless and has no relationship with these shifting forms. And yet it loves them all. Your whole mind, your soul loves them all because your wholeness is the very essence of love and cannot betray itself. Love cannot betray love. Only illusions seem to betray love. And even that isn't real because love is love and love is all there is. You see how simple it is? If we just let it be that simple. You are called to love in the same way. You've come to the point where you know the truth within that is forever true, and you look with compassion upon those others who are still sleeping. They dream of impossible worlds where danger lurks around every corner, but you do not share their dreams, for your eyes are now open and you have abandoned sleep. You love them as a mother loves her child, who tosses and turns in their bed at night. She does not know or understand the images the child perceives in their dream, but she loves them because she knows that at some point, she knows that a point will soon be reached where the dreams become unbearable. A point will soon be reached when the dream becomes unbearable, and then awakening is assured. So the only question for you is, has your dream of separation and death become unbearable? Has it? Have you come to the point where you can still put up with it a little longer? Let's be honest. Yes, that's still where we are. Because the instant the dream totally does become unbearable, poof, you pop. Now, it doesn't need to happen that way. That's the good news. It doesn't need to happen where the dream becomes so unbearable that you can't take it anymore. Because the other alternative, and that's what we really do here, is grace itself, or the passion of infinite bliss. That's the other way, and that's the preferred way. Getting to the point where my teacher, his awakening occurred because the dream had become so unbearable. It was either suicide or wake up. So he woke up. But we don't have to follow that path. We can follow the path of infinite bliss. And that's why we join together. That's why we come here, because we can feel it building. The light is getting brighter and brighter. The energy is getting higher and higher until finally breakthrough. It's like when you're flying in an airplane and you know how there are these clouds, right? And back on the earth is kind of dark and rainy, and you're flying up higher and higher, and then the airplane starts to go through the bank of clouds, and it may even shake a little bit, may begin to shudder a little bit, but then whoosh, you break through and you look down and you see a landscape of nothing but clouds, and you look up and you see just blue skies. You've broken through. That's what's happening here. You're breaking through the illusions of the ego, of separation itself, into the infinite passion of bliss. Wow. Is there any other possibility or alternative that we could ever desire? I don't think so, because the alternative, once again, is to have the dream become so unbearable that you have a choice. One of two: suicide or wake up. We don't need that path. We can choose this one. All right, where did I leave off? She does not understand the images the child perceives in their dream, but she loves them because she knows that a point will soon be reached where the dreams become unbearable, that awakening is assured. The only question for you, once again, is, have your dreams become unbearable? Or are you still waiting for salvation within this limited and senseless world? Are you still waiting for salvation here in the ego's domain? You will find none, only a continued reassertion of illusions. That's the truth, and we all know it. Be fooled no longer. Look with open and loving eyes upon what is forever seen by God. No dreams exist here. There is no need for illusions to claim what is forever claimed by God. Know that you are home now, and you share that knowledge with everyone. There's no need to use words, only your presence. It is enough. It's always been enough. Your presence, your frequency, your acknowledgement that only love is real is enough. So why hesitate? Why keep being pulled back? That's one of the things that we're noticing right now with all the strange, insane ideas of what's lurking around the next corner. All that is the ego saying, come back. Don't get too far out there. You should be very afraid. Get your walkie-talkies out so you can communicate with each other. You think I'm joking. This is not a joke. Robbie's laughing because he's the one who told me about all the groups out there with their walkie-talkies. Like, okay, is it happening? Is it happening yet? Yes, it's happening, but not what you thought was happening. Love is happening. Reality is happening. There is no dark form coming around the corner to get everyone but you. Because you're the one who was told by whatever it is that you think you were told by that you're safe as long as you do X, Y, and Z. No, that's insane. It's the ego saying, don't get too far out. Come back. Oh, just go. Don't hold back. Throw those walkie-talkies out. You don't need them anymore. Only thing you need is the continued reassertion of reality, not illusions. And when you feel that egoic gravitational force, the gravitational force of the ego, just say, adios. Don't need you anymore. I'm going for it. Now, this is where passion comes in, because just like a rocket ship needs tremendous energy to break through from the gravitational pull of the earth. I mean, 90% or something like that of the fuel that a rocket ship has is just to break free from the gravitational pull. Once you're free, you're free. We need tremendous passion, the passion for infinite bliss, to break free from the gravitational pull of the ego. But once you've broken free, once you're through, like breaking through that bank of clouds, it requires nothing. You soar. So why not? Here we are. We come together. We rejoice. We celebrate. We celebrate the passion of infinite bliss. We're breaking free, finally. Let's just feel that for a moment before we turn to Victoria. Let's just see if you can sense that passion. You have to remember that not only are you being pulled by the gravitational pull of the ego in one direction, you're also being pulled by grace in the other. Grace itself is drawing you, pulling you into the real world. But we have to break ties with all of those egoic attachments so that reality can pull us into itself. See if you can feel that force pulling you up, pulling you into love itself. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So, Vicky, we would love to hear your celebratory take on this, because you are the essence of celebration, and that's all that's left to do is to celebrate that we're breaking through. So, good morning to you.
Break on through to the other side, brother. Here we are.
This may be the
So-
first time I've ever heard Vicky quote a Doors song.
And if I could sing, I would have sung it to you. But so you know how I sum it up for me all the time, just like the ego depends on us flipping and flitting from one thing to the other as a distraction from that pain of guilt, self-inflicted guilt. We just jump by fire or by water. And if we want to bottom out and get to suicide or just about and then wake up, so be it. But we've been called to this path, and the grace or the fire, which doesn't burn us, is that fire of staying present to presence. That's what I have found. Present to presence in the face of everything, everything. Yesterday, we had a beautiful gathering of the guys around here. 42 years we've been doing the Course in Miracles with many of these guys that showed up yesterday for a gathering. And I looked around and I realized everyone represented all kinds of things, different paths, different ways of doing things, came from different parts of the state and everything else. But what did we have in common that made us a family? Together, we lived in that present presence of God. We loved God together. That's all it is. Love God with your whole heart, with your whole soul, with all your strength, with all your might. And somehow that love, even if we have not had yet a direct experience of what this reality is, there is a knowing in every one of us, because that knowing comes from some experience of love, whether we loved a pet or that we were loved by someone or that we loved a flower. We all know what love is, and we know that it is more than everything we see. And that's enough thread if we pay full attention to it. That's why present to the presence, all in 100%, no matter what seems to be happening. And especially when things seem to be happening, especially when we're shadow boxing, especially when the illusions rise up in front of us and seem to frighten us. It's most important not to run around and get into a million other distractions, but just to stay simply still and stay present to that presence. And somehow, and this is always by grace, that grace becomes a fountain within us that springs up. I have no idea how that happens, except that it's a miracle. It springs up and brings us into this experience of feeling safe and loved. And when we are safe and loved and cared for, there's nothing but to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just like there's nothing to do when we're shadow boxing and say, please help me, help. There's nothing to do. But most of us run around when we say help. We run around for this answer and that answer and this path and that path. If we can just stay still, it's the quickest way. It's the way that washes away all those fears. And it's the way that brings us into what is always so. Love is always so. And we all know that. We know it. We've known it since we were kids. We came in, no one, I don't believe, has ever come here obliterating a complete experience of love. There's always been a flicker, like a Bunsen burner, where there's just enough that if we fan that flame by staying still and present to it, paying attention to it, that it doesn't just go up into full glory. And then there is nothing to do but celebrate. And celebration doesn't have to be words and music and dancing. Celebration is a state of mind. It's a state of thank you, God. Yesterday, I looked around that room, all the different paths that my brothers have taken, none of it ever mattered. We had one thing in common, that we loved God, and the celebration became we loved each other. We loved each other. And I'd look, all these guys would come to anything we had at the house. Didn't matter who was speaking, who was singing, who was talking, except for Brother James. They all came very intentionally for Brother James. That's true. But the other, we could bring in, Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or anyone, and they say, oh, good reason for a party. Let's just come together. because in the coming together, in the joining of, oh, I hear love being sung from this brother. Oh, I hear the love he's singing. Doesn't matter the mode, the melody, the instruments he uses. It's a song of love. That's what's common, because God is love and we are part of that. And when we stop running from anything good or bad and stay steady right where we are, that and focus with all we've got, just with everything we've got on that presence, no matter what, that presence explodes in our hearts. And all we want to do is say thank you and I love you to each other. And yesterday I looked around the room and I could see, oh my God, all we say is thank you to each other. Thank you that we love God together. Thank you that in that we loved each other. And by the grace of God, we love ourselves. We're not calling ourselves guilty anymore. We're calling ourselves sometimes silly or foolish, made mistakes, won't do that again, but it's okay. So what? I love you anyway. So life is meant to be a celebration of love. It's meant to be a celebration of the giving of what we are, where we are, with whatever we've got to give. And it is mostly by that energy emanating by presence, by our peace that settles into that love and looks on a brother with kindness, with compassion, with welcome, and with love. That's what we're here to do. That's a true life of celebration, because nothing is left except the fruits of that spirit that blossom more than any garden, more than the sun, that blossom as the light that we are, expanding, finally extending freely without our interference. Okay, Brother James, that's my thought for this moment. Thank you very much for asking. I love you all. Thanks for loving God together.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
We're loving God and reality as one. I wish I could have been there for that party. That would have been a good party after so many years of celebrating together. And it never ends. Of course, it never ends. There'll be other parties. There'll be other celebrations. They're always happening right now. And as long as we give up the need and the to shadow box, we're not here to shadow box anymore. In fact, I'll show you this. If you guys can see this, this is, okay. That's little Jimmy after he's been shadow boxing for hours. So, Gina, do you have any little a cappella song that you could sing to take us home? Or one that you can sing with us or sing to us, or so. Yeah. So for those of you here in Zoom land, this is my dear friend Gina Salah, who is with us for a few days. She's doing a concert here tomorrow night, and we've known each other for almost 30 years. And she's one of the most extraordinary beams of light and grace and love. And boy, can she sing! So I'll let you take us home.
Hi. Namaste. Hello. Well, yeah, I love what you were saying about everything, all the different paths being just right. And for me, the paths come as in Scott and others through songs. And usually the medicine I need is the medicine we need. And so here's one that comes through. Well, first of all, in terms of celebration, Vicki and James, I loved what you said. I have a little thing I love to do, which is throughout the day, many times a day. Very good, very good, very good. Yay! Just decide it's awesome. Very good, very good, very good. Yay! Nice. And it changes, doesn't it? You can't think this and feel the same way before it. So, and a song that came to me this morning, and Ravi also asked about and mentioned because he was with me earlier in Mexico, is from our sponsor. Let yourself be loved, beloved. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself be loved, beloved. You are so worthy of. Should we try it? Yes. Let yourself be loved, beloved. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself. Let yourself be loved, beloved. You are so worthy of. Should try it again and sing it first to your own heart to fill up your own cup. All those parts that feel kind of sometimes they forget how lovable. Oops, I stumbled. Oops. Let yourself be loved, beloved. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself be loved, beloved. You are so worthy of. Into each other. Let yourself be loved, beloved. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself be loved, beloved. You are so worthy of. Because we are one in the one, beloved one. Not much. We are one in the one, beloved one. We are one in the one, beloved one. We are one in the one, beloved one.
Wow.
I just knew that was a good idea. We are one in the one, beloved one. Oh my gosh. Do you feel that? Ooh. That's the passion of infinite bliss right there. So don't hold it back anymore. Just give yourself totally to that love. It gives itself totally to you. So why not imitate the love that is your own? Give yourself to love. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Namaste.
Love you.
Namaste.
Bye.
See you on Monday, if not before.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.